Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. It's been a while now, but I'm back. I trust you guys are all doing great. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to make a high-low wrap skirt. This is the lovely Ankara fabric I'll be using, and I have 6 yards here. I'll be using about 3 yards altogether. You can use any kind of fabric of your choice to make this kind of skirt. So to get started, open up your fabric and fold it into 2. But to get the width of the fold, you have to take your hip circumference measurement, divide by 4, and add 1 or half an inch for side seam allowance. I have 38 inches as my hip circumference. I divided by 4, I have 9.5, then plus half an inch will give me 10 inches altogether. So whatever you have, fold your fabric and make sure you have extra 2 inches or more at the side, okay? So that's what I'm going to do right here. I'll take the measurement now. My total is 10 inches, but I'll leave it at 12 inches. Okay, so I'll just adjust it a bit, then make my crease for the fold, okay? Now grab your ruler and draw your starting line about 1 inch from the top of your fabric. Next, mark your total length of the skirt. I have 35 inches measurement without the band. I'll add 2 inches or more to the hem of the skirt depending on how much curve you want at the back of your skirt, but I'll just add 2 inches for mine. Lastly, add 1 inch for the fold at the hem, so I have a total of 38 inches. I'll just measure 38 inches here. I'll mark it, then do the same for the other side. Then I'll connect both points together. This will be the hem of the fabric. Now let's go to the top of our fabric. From the starting line, mark the waist to hip measurement. Take your own measurement and place it. I have 9 inches, so I'll just place my tape this way and mark 9 inches downwards. I'll also mark it at the other side and connect the points together. The next thing to do is to mark the waist circumference on the starting line. So measure your waist circumference and divide by 4 to get a quarter of your waist circumference measurement. I'll divide 29 inches by 4 to give me 7.25 inches. So I'll mark that here. Mark yours as well. Then add 1 inch for your dart and mark. Then add half an inch or 1 inch for side seam allowance. I'll mark half an inch. This has now become your waistline. On the hip line, impute a quarter of your hip circumference measurement. Mine is 38. Divided by 4 is 9.5, so I'll mark 9.5 here. And I'll add half an inch for side seam allowance and mark it. I'll go down to the hem and impute the same 10 inches that I have on the hip line and mark it. Now I will connect all the points together. So using my hip curve or your curve ruler, connect from waistline to hip line. Using your long straight ruler, connect from hip line to hem line. We need to position the dart now. So on the waistline, place your tape from the center fold to the dart point we marked, not the side seam allowance mark, the dart point mark. Place your tape on this point and hold your finger at that point. Then fold the tape into 2 and mark the center points there. It is from this point we are going to form the dart. And since this is the back of our skirt, we'll go down by 4 inches and mark. Then make a straight line. Next, place half inch on both sides of the line. Now connect both points to the tip of the line to form the dart leg. I'll just highlight the end point of the dart so that when sewing, I will not go beyond that point. At the center fold, go down by half an inch and mark. Draw a slight curve using your curve ruler from the center fold all the way to the side. This will cause the band to sit well on the waist. Now, add half-inch allowance on top for joining to the band. Okay, so you see what we have here. The next thing to do is to go down to the hemline, and we're going to go up by 2 inches. This is because I want to make a slight curve at the hem of the skirt. So go up at this side, not at the fold. Then make your mark. Grab your curve ruler. So notice the way I place it from that 2 inches we marked. Alright, and it's blending to the hemline. So after placing, you make your curve. So far so good. Now it's time to cut out the fabric. This is what it looks like. Now to transfer the dart to the other side of the fabric, using your scissors or any other method that works for you, just notch the 3 lines. Using a thumbtack, pin it at the end point. Then at the back of the fabric, mark that point where the pin comes out. Open up the fabric and draw the second dart. So place your ruler on one of the notches, then connect to the dart point with a straight line. Do the same for the remaining 2 notches. We have prepared both darts for the back skirt. Let's prepare the overlap. We are starting with the one that is going to be on top. So place your fabric, then fold into 2 just like you did at the beginning. Then take the back pattern, fold it into 2 and place it over the fabric, making sure both folds align, and secure it with pins if needed. After properly placing, then you can go ahead and cut out your fabric. This is it, guys, but before I separate, I will knot the dart with my scissors. Then I'll use my thumbtack to make the dart point. I'll just put the back panel aside. Then you can go ahead and draw out the darts just like we did before. We now have both darts ready, so open up the fabric, making sure the wrong side is facing up. We are going to work on the left side dart since the overlap is going to come from the right side to the left. This is the right side and this is the left side where we are going to have the tie rope. Remember, this piece is going to be the one on top. So place the ruler on the left dart and extend a line downwards. Now, I am going to form a curve from this point to meet with that line. I'll just start from this point and make a curve all the way up to blend with that line. So just watch what I'm doing. That's it. So simple. Go ahead now and cut it out. I'm going to use this to cut out the piece that will be under this one. So set this piece aside, then place fabric on the table. Take this piece and place on the fabric, making sure right sides face each other. While placing on the fabric, move inwards away from the edge because we'll be needing that side very soon. Now secure this with pins so that it stays in place. The next thing to do is to extend it a little bit at this side. Using your chalk, just follow the shape of the one you place on top to draw it. You can make it about 4 to 5 inches wide, but make sure it blends with the bottom curve. This is just an extension of the piece that sits on the lap so that the lap is not exposed anytime you are sitting down. Extend the line from the waist to connect it. Then you can go ahead and cut out your fabric. Using your scissors, notch so that you can draw out the dart. Use your thumbtack to create the dart point. Remove your pins. I'll just set this aside, then turn the fabric to the wrong side and draw your dart. Now that we are done drawing the darts, we'll take our fabric to the machine to take in all the darts. So just fold like this and place on your machine. Then run a straight stitch on that line. I just want to highlight the end point very well so that I will not go beyond that point. Okay, so that is what you're going to do. Run your stitch straight on that line. So you take all your pieces, the 3 pieces that you have, and run all your stitches, okay? Now that we have taken in all the darts, place the back piece on the table with right side facing up. Next, place the wider piece on the left side with wrong side facing up. Then place the smaller piece on the right side with wrong side of the fabric facing up. Then take it to the machine to join it by 1/2 inch or whatever allowance you used. Okay, so you just join it on both sides. This is what it looks like. Now turn it to the wrong side. Then we are going to fold it in at the edge by 1 inch. So you fold it in like this. Okay, and you're going to start from this end, from one end of the fabric all the way round to the other edge. I am on the machine now and I'm going to be folding in the edge of the fabric, okay? While stitching, make sure you follow the curve. So you keep bending your fold. Don't make it straight, you bend it according to the curve. so that it doesn't form any crease. Okay. This is what it looks like so far. Our skirt is really looking good. You can see how the curve came out. Everything is looking smooth and laying nicely. Okay. If you want to attach a lining to it, it is the same process, only that we'll skip this last process we did, which is the folding in at the edge. So you take the lining and the fabric, then you join them together by 1 inch at the edge all round, okay? Then you turn it the right side. That's all you have to do if you want to attach a lining to it. Our skirt is already looking good, so it's time to prepare the band, which is also the belt. So open it up. This is the one that is going to overlap, and the belt will be tied at the left side. So what we're going to do is to first measure the back part of the skirt with the overlap part, starting from the seam allowance and measure to the other seam allowance. So place your tape at the seam line here, then you measure all the way to the other seam line. Okay, so this is the back portion of the skirt. So I have about 15 inches. Then I'll measure the overlap piece, but I'll fold it first so that you can understand. So remember, we just measured the back from this point to this point. So measure the overlap. I have about 11 inches, but I'll extend it to the side, which altogether is 15 inches. We are going to add them up, so 15 inches for the back, 15 inches also for the overlap, then add 30 inches for the belt that we're going to tie at the side, okay, which is going to be tied on the left side. So that will give us a total of 60 inches. That is just for one part of the skirt. Now I'll open up the skirt again. For the piece under, I'll measure it, and on this end it is going to have a big long belt. This is about 15 inches. It's actually 14.5 inches or thereabout, but I'll just round it up to 15 inches. There's going to be a hole at the side which the belt will pass through and come to the back. So I'll just write 15 inches right now, then plus the one that will go round to the back, which is 15 inches. So we have 15 and another 15 plus 30 inches for the belt that will be tied together with this one to form a bow at the side. So altogether that will be 60 inches. Okay, so we have 15, 15 and 30, which will give us a total of 60 inches. It's time to cut out the band, which will also serve as the belt. So I'll be cutting 2 pieces of that, and each will be measuring 60 inches as we earlier measured. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is to fold your fabric into 2 in the bias form. This will cause the band to sit nicely on the waist, but you can cut it straight if you don't have enough fabric. Measure the folds to be sure you have the desired length. I have about 60 inches, so I'll just pin it to keep it in place. Next, measure the width of the band. The width of the band I'm working with is 1.5 inches or 1.5 inches, but I'll add ½ inch for the sewing allowance. So altogether will be 2 inches. So the width of the band I'll be cutting or measuring now is 2 inches. So I'll mark 2 inches all the way to the end, then I'll connect all the points together. The next thing to do is to cut out your band. Measure your desired length, add seam allowance of about 1 inch to it, and cut off any excess. One band is ready. I'll go ahead and cut the second one. These are the bands, and I've ironed my paper stay to it. Use a soft one because remember the band is also acting as the belt. I've also folded in by 1/2 inch on one side of the band to give it a neat finish. Now I'll take it to the machine to join them together to form a very long band. After joining, just open it up like this and press it down. Fold this portion over, then fold over again this way. At the tip of belt, fold into 2, right sides facing each other. Take your ruler and draw a diagonal line so that it has a pointy end. Take the other end of the belt, fold into 2, right sides facing each other. Place both ends together and cut it out on the diagonal line you just drew. Now, go to the machine and stitch it this way using 1/2 inch. I've stitched it and notched it at this point. Now, I'll turn it right side out with my scissors. So you see how it looks? It came out well. So we're going to attach our belt to the skirt now. This is the skirt and this is the wrong side. This is the back of the skirt from this point to this point. This side is the overlap. This is the one that goes under the overlap. This is the belt, and we are going to place it at this point here, and it is going to go all the way to the end. So take the midpoint of the belt, turn your belt this way first of all, then align the midpoint to the seam line on the skirt. Make sure the right side of the belt faces the wrong side of the skirt, then pin it all the way to the end. We are going to pin this side as well to the end of the skirt. Now, take it to the machine and go and stitch from this point all the way to the other point by 1/2 inch. This is what it looks like after sewing. So, flip it to the right side. Then fold over the band and stitch down, making sure the stitch is very close to the edge. When you get to this point, fold in the one under by 1/2 inch to meet with the one on top that is already folded in. So keep folding and stitching till you get to the end of the belt. The final thing is to make a buttonhole, and this is where the belt will pass through to the back of the skirt. It should sit just above the seam on the skirt. Use a pen and a ruler to draw a rectangle. This is what it should look like. Now, take to the sewing machine to stitch on the 4 sides of the rectangle. Before stitching, the first thing to do is to put your stitch on the smallest size. Then you put your fabric under the sewing machine and begin to stitch slowly and gently, but make sure you run over the 4 sides about 3 times each, okay? Okay people, this is it, and I've gone ahead to cut open the hole. This belt is the one that is going to pass through the hole. This will sit on top this way, and this belt goes to this side, while this goes through the back to meet with this one on this side. Then you can go ahead and tie on the left side. we have come to the end of today's tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a thing or two. Please, if you enjoyed this tutorial, give me a thumbs up, share to your family and friends. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and leave me a comment if you have any. Okay, so I'll see you in my next one. Take care. Bye.